Hello everyone and welcome to Grandstand Sports Data. In today's video, we're giving you the NBA Finals betting preview between the Indiana Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder. We'll be breaking down this matchup statistically, fundamentally, and then we'll be going through all the betting analysis that we have available here at Grandstand Sports Data. So let's get right into it. So let's break down this matchup from a statistical perspective. And just from the looks of it, Oklahoma City looks like they're dominating across the board. You can see they're ranked number one in power rating and SRS from an overall strength standpoint. So they're setting the standard in the league. Offensively, they edge Indiana with a number three offensive rating and rank top tier in turnover percentage and effective field goal percentage. What about defensively? Well, they're just as elite. Number one in defensive rating and number two in opponent efficient field goal percentage and number one in forcing turnovers across all the NBA. Indiana now, they're not necessarily a pushover. They're solid across multiple offensive metrics, especially efficient field goal percentage and turnover rate. But what really jumps out is how average to weak they are on the glass. They're 29th in the NBA when it comes to offensive rebounding, and on the defensive end compared to OKC, not necessarily the greatest. So that's where this series can shift. OKC can pressure the ball, force mistakes, and then limit second chances. So from a better standpoint, this is a matchup of a good team versus a well-rounded elite team. If you're thinking about spread betting or series line, this is a scenario where Oklahoma City statistically dominant and can justify a premium, especially in those tight late game scenarios where defensive stops and efficiency matter the most. All right, so let's take a look at the fundamentals for the series. And looking at the projected lineups and playoff win shares, you're seeing a clear edge for OKC when it comes to efficiency per minute, right? Their win share per 48 average of about 1.066. That suggests this team has been very productive when it matters the most. Indiana starters, especially Halliburton and Siakam, they're going to carry the volume, but their bench and support cast drop off fast in playoff efficiency. Now, OKC, they don't just win with star power. They have balance, right? They have Shea, Chet, Jalen Williams, and Hartenstein all contribute with solid win shares per 48 numbers, as you can see. You're looking at a team that can give you basically two-way play from almost every spot, and that's going to hold weight, especially in a series setting. So not just on a game-to-game, but on a series setting, that's going to hold weight. From a fundamental view, Indiana and OKC, they're very, very even when it comes to pace, so they basically run the same pace, but home court is going to be big here. And OKC's depth and consistent playoff performance metrics give them the edge. If Indiana starters don't dominate their minutes, OKC can wear them down over the course of the series, especially late in games where depth and efficiency usually win out. All right, so moving on to the handicap and factor results, and this slide is one of the clearest indicators of how sharp bettors have consistently made money in similar playoff spots over the last 5 years, and it overwhelmingly points to the Oklahoma City Thunder. You can look at the profit units, so turnover percentage, edges, and pace-based matchups have been gold mines in the playoffs. OKC checks every single box that historically led to strong playoff returns. Let's take a look at some of them. Turnover percentage differential is massive. So that's about 19 units of edge in this category alone, which is the single strongest factor on the board. Offensive and defensive turnover rates both favor OKC. So that means they're forcing mistakes while protecting the ball. Two-way discipline that travels and sustains across series games. Next will be, or finally will be, pace and offensive rating. Those also lean OKC, showing they've thrived in games with tempo and efficiency. Now, Indiana's only edges, it's going to be free throw attempts per field goal attempt, which tells you they're good at drawing contact. But unless that gets reinforced across multiple games and officiating stays tight, that's not going to be enough to swing the series. The bottom line here is that this chart screams that OKC fits the historical profile of a plus EV team in playoff matchups like this one. You'd be hard pressed to find a cleaner, data driven case. And now looking at the spread betting trends for each team, we've covered the regular season throughout. So let's take a look at about from game 83 onward. And you're seeing a clear divergence in performance between these two teams against the spread. Indiana, while showing, a modest late season recovery, still remain below break-even territory. They're struggling to string together profitable runs, and they've been playing basically catch up throughout the whole season. Oklahoma City, on the other hand, maintained consistent spread dominance, as you can see. Even as the market adjusted to their rise, they stayed profitable, holding gains and bouncing back from minor dips. That tells you their market value hasn't been fully priced in, even late in the season. So when you're betting this series, you want to lean into teams that continue to beat the number after the market sharpens. OKC fits that mold. Indiana's trend may show slight improvement, but it's not enough to fade a team like OKC, who is still covering even with inflated lines. So moving on to the moneyline betting trends, and from game 83 on, Indiana has been one of the most profitable moneyline teams in the playoffs. They've ripped off a sharp uptrend, consistently cashing as underdogs and small favorites, overperforming their implied odds. That late season momentum is critical for betting value, especially if the market still views them as a middling team. OKC, on the other hand, had a great overall moneyline season, but started to flatten out after about game 83 or when the playoffs started. You're seeing more volatility and tighter returns. It doesn't mean they're slipping, it just means the market has caught up to them, and you're paying a premium now. So for the series, Indiana offers the better value if they still price like a mid-tier team, and if they're hitting that kind of stride while the books are overvaluing OKC, especially at home, you've got a live dog scenario. Look to pick your spots on Indiana money line and plus money games, especially on the road. I'd like to uh, kind of put that in your pocket for you to take into account. So this slide is where everything is going to come together. Market odds, model simulations, and final betting recommendations. At the top, you've got the current series lines. OKC is a heavy favorite at minus 700, which implies an 87.5 chance to win this series, just according to the market. But when we run our 10,000 Monte Carlo simulations, our model gives them just a 64% chance. And that's a massive gap, suggesting that the Thunder are overpriced in the market. Meanwhile, Indiana is sitting around plus 500, which implies about a 17% win probability, but our model gives them about a 36% chance. That's where the value is. The model sees the series as far more competitive than the market is pricing in. And the final row confirms that. Our model pick is Indiana on the spread, OKC to win the series, and a lean to the over on the total games played. So this isn't about fading OKC, it's about attacking mispriced value. Indiana is undervalued here, and that's where the edge lies. But I will say, looking a little bit closer, if you would have asked me, Anthony from Grandstand Sports Data, my personal opinion, I'm liking the over in the series. I think that Indiana can steal at least 2 games in this series. You're looking at a plus 115 if you are looking at that over. I think 4 games to 2 is not bad at all. The model hasn't been too bad when it comes to picking money lines and it's come to picking scores. And when I say scores, I mean, the series numbers. So 4 games to 2. The model has been pretty good in the last 5 years. You can see that they're labeled in yellow. So that means they're about almost hovering about that 50% mark. Remember, our color codes here at Grandstand Sports Data: red, orange, yellow, green, and then blue. So yellow represents middling, in the middle, about 50%. The over in green, so it's a subpar, but I still like it. Some people are gonna call me crazy. They don't think that Indiana could steal 2 games. I think that they could steal a couple of games at home. Maybe one in Oklahoma and one in Indiana. Therefore, Indiana would be good with a plus 2.5. You can get that at plus money at plus 110. And just like I said, that would also satisfy the bet if you had it in over 5.5 games at plus 115. So that's where I think it's gonna go. I do think Oklahoma City is going to win the championship, though. No matter how they get there, they're going to win. I wouldn't put any money on Indiana winning outright at plus 500. I don't see that happening. We've all been wrong at one point in our lives, so we can't really, it could be a huge upset, but I think, at minus 700, I think we can almost safely say that Oklahoma City will get it done and will be your new NBA champions. Okay, so thank you guys for tuning in to the NBA first round playoff preview. We hope you had a great time and picked up some awesome information. Now, don't forget to subscribe to Grandstand Sports Data for more great shows like this one. Also, don't forget to give this video a like and share it with your friends. And leave a comment down below on who you think is going to win this series. That's all for now, and we'll see you guys in the next one.